All schools love free stuff, and lots of the classics are free. You can see here that I have Vanity Fair, for which I paid nothing. A class set of Kindles can be quickly equipped with a variety of free texts, and even buying books works out cheaper. One Kindle ebook can be read on up to 6 devices, so for a class set of 30, you'd only need to buy 5 copies of the book. If a student gets stuck with a word in a text that they're reading on the Kindle, they can scroll to it and the definition will appear at the top or bottom of the screen. I found that this has encouraged students to look up the meanings of far more words than if they had a traditional dictionary, as it's less obvious and therefore less embarrassing. Even if you're not reading a text on the Kindle itself, you can use the built-in dictionary to look up words. It's easy to type a word in and find out what it means. This went down extremely well with my Year 12 class this year. Another way to improve student literacy skills is to have the Kindle read the text aloud while they follow it. Select text to speech, turn on, and the Kindle will read the text from the beginning of the page.
Amelia trembled as she opened it. So it ran, "Dear Amelia, I sent you The Orphan of the Forest."
Now I have it going on its fastest speed at the moment. You can change speed and choose between a male and female voice.
As soon as I have recovered, for my health is very much shaken, I shall go to Scotland for some months, and am truly yours, Joss Sedley. It was the death warrant. All was over. Amelia did not dare to look at Rebecca's pale face and burning eyes, but she dropped the letter into her.
My Year 11 suggested that they could go to sleep listening to the Kindle read them their revision guides to get a bit of subliminal learning in. I used Moby Pocket Creator, which is a program freely available on the internet, to create a Kindle edition of our revision guide. I used this in class with my Year 11s, who liked being able to search the material for answers during quizzes and so on. I was also able to make the Kindle version available to students who had the Kindle app on their smartphones or iPods, and indeed actually it was them that asked for it, so that was a real positive to this part of the project. For my last Year 9 assessment, we looked at JFK conspiracies. And we don't have any textbooks covering that, so I made my own from the reams of information on Wikipedia. I simply converted it to a PDF and loaded it onto the Kindles. We saved about £13 in photocopying charges, and eventually all those savings would add up. Incidentally, I didn't rewrite the Wikipedia entry for this task to make the language easier for them to understand, which is what I would usually do. Instead, I showed the students how to use the dictionary, and none of them had a problem. ICT rooms are quite difficult to book at this time of year, so when I started a fresh research project with Year 8, I booked them in for a single lesson and got them to create their own research documents. They copied and pasted all the information they could find into a Word file, converted it to a PDF, and transferred the content to the Kindle. I see Mikey History Project here. And he's picked to do the ancient Egyptians. And this makes that information very accessible inside the classroom. Here's a benefit of having a 3G model. I picked up this great World War I unit starter from another history teacher. Students have a fantasy budget of £100 to buy World War I memorabilia on eBay. You can use the experimental browser on the Kindle to complete this task without the need for an ICT suite. As you can see, it's a little bit clunky. It just makes it less likely that they'll be doing the wrong thing on it, I think. And there we have it. Here I have a Year 13 coursework essay, final coursework piece. I asked the student to email me a draft. I then converted it to a PDF and transferred it to my Kindle. This meant that I could take it with me on my travels in the school holidays without carrying around pieces of paper. For this, I asked my students to make sure their drafts displayed line numbers, and once I'd started reading the essay, I could give feedback to my students via Twitter. Here's how you do it. Find the line where you want to add the note. I'm going to pick line 210. Begin typing for the note. Hey, you need to correct line 210. Then type in the student's Twitter name. I'm going to use a handy guinea pig. Then click down here where it says save and share. And as long as you've put your Twitter details in, the Kindle will tweet that for you via 3G or wireless.